Welcome to another coding tutorial, and in today's video we're going to be coding the game of Tic Tac Toe. I've made a series on introduction to creative coding, and in today's tutorial we're going to be touching on a lot of different concepts. So if you want a better understanding of all the fundamentals, basics, be sure to check that out. To code a game of Tic Tac Toe, I'm going to start by drawing the Tic Tac Toe board. I'm going to define three variables. The first one is columns, which I'm going to initialize at 3. Rows is also at 3, and then size. And then we're going to calculate the size underneath the setup function. And then the fourth variable that I want to define is actually an array called board. So underneath the setup function, first we're going to calculate the size, which is going to be width divided by columns. And since we have the same width and the same height, you know that the size will be the same throughout. Next, I'm going to create a 2D array using a nested for loop. So the first for loop is going to be set to I less than columns. And then we're going to populate the board array with 1D empty arrays, 3 of them. And then next for loop, we're going to loop through the number of rows. And then I'm actually going to set the value inside the board to be 0, and then you see why in a little bit. The next thing that I want to do is that I want to draw the board. I'm actually going to create a separate function called draw board. And to draw a board, I'm going to write a nested for loop. You should be familiar with this already, but I have a lot of actually coding tutorials that explain how to do this, so check that out if you're not familiar. And then I'm gonna use a function called rect, and rect is a built-in function within p5.js that takes in 4 arguments. The first 2 are the x and y location of the top left corner of the rectangle, which we're gonna give it at I times size and j times size. And then the third and the fourth are gonna be the width and the height, which is gonna be size and size. And now let's go back to the draw function. And then what we want to do is that we want to call this function draw board. Then let's see. Okay. This has to be j. So now we have a grid of 3 by 3, exactly what we wanted. Next, you see why I set the value of board to be 0. So what I'm going to add in this draw board function is that I'm going to put in a couple functions that will draw the text onto each of the board. So first, text align will align the text to the center of the grid. And then I'm going to set the size to be, let's do 30. And then text is the function that is going to draw the text. And what am I going to draw? I'm going to draw the value that is inside the board, which right now should be 0, right? And then the second and the third arguments here are going to be the location of where the text is going to be. So it's going to be I times size and j times size. So let's see. Oh, and then I want to move it half the size to the right and then half the size down. So size plus divided by 2 plus, and then same here, size divided by 2 plus. So now we have the values of the board on the grid. And the reason that I actually put the value 0 inside the 2D array as initial values is because I want to be able to distinguish which of the location within this 2D array is already populated with the X or the O sign when we play tic-tac-toe. I will actually write a conditional statement here. If board of I and j is not equals to 0, then I actually want to draw the values inside the grid. But if it is 0, then leave it blank. And because right now the values in the board are all 0, that's why you don't see anything. So how do we play tic-tac-toe? The way that we're going to play is that we're going to click the mouse on the location that we want to place either the X or the O. I need to write a function called mousePressed. And mousePressed is a built-in function within p5.js that is called whenever the mouse is pressed. I want to be able to locate where the mouse is pressed and I wanted to return the index value of the location of where the mouse is pressed that is going to be able for me to access the data within a 2D array. So I'm going to create a variable called index. An index is going to be an array of size 2. The first location is going to give me the location of the first index, the x index. So mouse x divided by size. And then the second one will be mouse y divided by size. And I need to also write the word floor here. By putting this value inside the function floor here, floor is basically going to give me an integer that is closest to the number within the parentheses. So it's going to give me a value between 0 to 2, and same as for the y location, 0 to 2. So let's see, print index. So when I press the first one, I get 0, 0, 1, 0, 2, 0, 0, 1, 1, 1, 2, 1, 0, 2, 1, 2, and 2, 2. So now we have all the correct index values. I'm going to write another function called place pieces. And this function is going to take in 2 parameters or 2 arguments. So it's going to take in the x and y index location. So it's going to be index of 0 here and then index of 1. Okay, so now let's go write the function place pieces. So place pieces is going to take in 2 values, right? X and y. And what is it going to do? So this is where the 0 initial values come in handy. I'm going to write an if statement. So if board of x and y location is equals to 0, meaning that there's nothing inside, then I want to place the piece, right? So before I write that, I want to say else here, then I want to print spot not available. So within the first if statement here, what we want to do is that we want to set the value of the board at x and y location to be equals to either x or o. So it's going to be equal to current player. And what is current player? So let's define some new variables. So the first one is players, and players, there are going to be 2 types of players, right? Which is going to be, it's going to be an array of x and an array of x and o. Okay, and then current player will be randomized. So I'm going to give current player an initial value within the setup function. So current player is either going to be x or o. To do this, what I'm going to do is that I'm going to use a random function. And this random function is going to take in the value of 2. This random function, if I give an argument of 2, it's going to give a random value between 0 and 2, but not including 2, right? So 0 to like 1999999. Then I want to also use the function floor here so that it will give me a value between 0 and 1. Actually, let's just print just to make sure that this is correct. So you get 1, you get 1, you get 1, you get 0, 0, 0, 1. So you get either 0 or 1. But then what we want to do next is that we want to actually use this 0, 1 number to access the value x or o here, right? So we want to put in the name of that array players and then use a square bracket. And then this is the index. And so underneath our place pieces function, board of x and y is going to be equal to current player, which is going to be either x or o. But once that is placed, the next thing that you want to do is that you want to change current player from either x to o or o to x. So I'm going to do if current player is equals to x, then current player equals to o, else current player equals to x. There are many ways that you can actually do this. You can go back to the way that you do the index value, but I chose to do a conditional statement. We have the mousePressed function, and this mousePressed function, once we press the mouse, is gonna give us an index value of the location of the index of the grid of the 2D array. And then we're gonna use that index value as arguments that are passed into placePieces function. And then placePieces function basically is gonna look at the board. If the value inside the board is equal to 0, then we're gonna replace that with the value x or o. But if there's already something inside, then we know that the spot is not available, so you need to click a different spot. So let's try it. X, O, X, O, X, O. Okay, let's try this. Spot not available. Spot not available. It was X before, right? Or was it O? It must be O before. Let's try again. X, O, X, O, X, O, X, O, X. Spot not available. It should be O, this one. Okay, so now placePieces function works. The next function that we need to write is called check winner, right? We want to check when there's a winner. And how can we win? There are 4 ways that we can win, right? So if the same values are in the same row, or if it's in the same column, just like this. The third way is if you win diagonally, right? Like this. And the fourth way is also when you win diagonally, but in the different direction, like that. Now let's write a function called check winner. So first, let's start with if you were to win vertically, right? So we want to loop through the columns. Then we want to check that if board of I0, right, is equals to board of I1, and board of I1 is equals to board of I2. And we need another and. If board of I0 is not equals to 0, right? Because it has to either be X or O. Then we want to set winner equals to true. And now we have to go back and also create a new Boolean variable called winner, and then we set it as false. So now that we have the vertical winner, now let's do the horizontal winner. So let I equals to 0, I is less than rows, I plus plus. If board of 0, I equals to board of 1, I, and board of 1, I is equals to board of 2, I, and board of 0, I is not equals to 0. Then set winner to true. Okay, let's just stop here for now just to check that we didn't make any mistakes. So I'm gonna print the word, the variable winner. And then when do we want to check winner? We want to check winner inside the mousePressed function as well, so every time we press the mouse. So check winner. Okay, let's click play. False, still false. True, because we want vertically here. Let's try again. How about horizontal? False, 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 true. Okay, so we did it correctly. Now let's do 2 more for the 2 diagonal winner. If board of 0, 0 is equals to board of 1, 1, right? And board of 1, 1 is equals to board of 2, 2, and board of 0, 0 is not equals to 0. Then winner is true. So this one, it's gonna go from the top left corner to the bottom right corner. Then we want one more. Same thing, I'm just gonna copy this. And now I'm gonna change the value here to 2, 0 equals to 1, 1, and 1, 1 equals to 0, 2. And then this one is to 2, 0. Okay, let's try it again. True. See that? True? Okay, then one more. True. All right, so that means our check winner function works. I want to draw a line to show that, hey, someone is winning. And then I want to also display a text smack in the middle of my canvas to show who is winning. So I'm gonna write the last function called draw winner. So when do we want to draw a winner? We want to draw a winner only when the variable winner here is true, right? So if winner. Now, inside this if statement, we need to know how do we win, like vertically, horizontally, or diagonally, and where. So inside these if statements here, I'm gonna add another piece of code, which is to indicate which location, which is like which columns or which rows, and also if we were to win vertically or horizontally or diagonally, right? So I'm gonna create another variable called winner location. I'm gonna start with an empty array here. Then we come down to check winner function here. So winner location, I'm gonna give it two values. The first value will be 1 to 4, and 1 for me is gonna be if you win vertically. 2 is gonna be if you win horizontally. 3 is gonna be if you win diagonally from top left to bottom right, and then 4 is gonna be if you win diagonally from top right to bottom left. Okay, so 1, and then the second value will be I, so I know which column or which row. Winner location for this one will be 2I, and then for this one, since there is no I here, I'm just gonna do 3 and 0. And for the last one, it's gonna be 4 and 0. So now within the draw winner function here, underneath the if statement, I need to write more conditional statements, 4 to be exact. So if winner location of index 0 is equals to 1, so this is the horizontal win, right? Else if this is equals to 2, and then same thing here for 3 and 4. I want to draw a line. Okay, so this line is gonna go from where? It's gonna go from the winner location of the second index, right? The second index here, which is index 1, right? Times size. And I also need the word size divided by 2 here, so it's in the middle of the grid. And then the second one will be size divided by 2 plus 0 times size, which is 0. And then it's going to be size divided by 2 plus winner of location 1 times size, and then size divided by 2 plus 2 times size. I believe that's correct. And then for the horizontal win, you want the same thing but opposite. So it's going to be size divided by 2 plus 0 times size, and then size divided by 2 plus winner location of index 1, and then size divided by 2 plus 2 times size, and then it's going to be size divided by 2 plus winner of location of 1. I feel like I messed on something wrong here. I need to multiply by size here, and multiply by size here. Okay, let's stop here and then let's try it. So draw winner will have to be underneath the draw function. Draw winner. Let's try the horizontal win first. Okay, now we have a line. And then let's try the vertical win. Okay. Oddly enough, that was correct. And then the third and the fourth one is gonna be line of size divided by 2, size divided by 2, and then you want 2 size divided by 2 times plus 2 times size, and then size divided by 2 plus 2 times size. And then for the fourth one, it will be size divided by 2, right? 0, no, plus 2 times size first, and then size divided by 2. And then for bottom left, it will be size divided by 2, and then size divided by 2 plus 2 times size. So I forgot to say, so line actually takes in 4 values, right? The first 2 are the first x and y coordinate of the first point, and then the last 2 are the x and y coordinate of the second point, and then that's how the line is connected from point 1 and point 2. Let's try the horizontal one. Okay. Yay! I also want to add a different color to that line. I want it to be red, and I want it to be a little bit thicker. And then underneath the draw function here for the board, so that it's not red everywhere, I also need to write the new stroke color and stroke weight here to be black and stroke weight to be 1. Okay, let's try. Okay, and then the last piece before we end here is that I want to write a text smack in the middle of my canvas just to tell who's winning. Text align is gonna be center, and then text size is gonna be, let's do 100. Maybe that's too big, but let's try it. And then I want the text to be, you would think it would be current player, but because of the way we do it, who's winning is gonna be who is not the current player. So we need another conditional statement, or maybe I can do this. Let's try this. So let winner text, right? And then before we change the current player, maybe I can set winner text to be current player. Let's try that. And then we come down to text here. It would be winner text, and then we want it to be at actually we want it to be in the middle of the canvas, right? Okay. Yay! So now X wins, but we don't want to say X, we want it to say X plus wins. O wins. X wins. Perfect. So now you see how we can code a game of tic-tac-toe. So give it a try. You'll learn a lot of the basics, fundamentals of creative coding, whether it be 2D arrays, mouse press, interaction, things like that. Give it a try.